They say music can heal the soul, but in my case, it nearly got me killed. The night I first met Luca Moretti, I wasn't playing a song. I was playing for my life. The club was drowning in smoke and sin, the kind of place where secrets are currency and smiles are weapons. My fingers trembled on the keys, not because of the jazz, but because I knew who sat in the corner booth, the man they called Il Fantasma, the ghost who ran half of New York's underworld. I didn't plan to catch his attention, but when his icy blue eyes locked on me, I forgot the melody, the fear, even my own name. Luca wasn't just beautiful, he was terrifying. Every movement of his hand, every slow sip of whiskey, radiated control. Yet when the last note of my set faded, he did something no one expected. He clapped once, slow and deliberate, and then he smiled. "Play it again," he said, his voice smooth as smoke. That's how it started. Night after night, I played for him, and little by little, I fell. He wasn't what I expected a mafia boss to be. Beneath the tailored suits and guarded stares, there was loneliness. He'd stay after hours sometimes, sitting at the piano beside me, pretending he didn't care about the music, but I could see how it touched him. "You play like you're bleeding through the keys," he once said quietly. "What's your story, pretty boy?" I laughed it off. Couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell anyone, because my name isn't really Jamie. And the man I used to be, the one I buried 3 years ago, had blood on his hands. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was hiding from a killer while falling in love with one. It wasn't supposed to go this far. I told myself that every night as I packed up after my sets, trying to ignore the way Luca's gaze lingered just a second too long. The city outside was ruthless, rain-streaked streets, sirens wailing, people pretending not to see. But inside that club, in that stolen world of piano notes and whiskey-scented silence, I felt alive again. Until the night he kissed me. It was after closing. The lights dimmed, the crowd gone, and only the hum of the city outside remained. I was playing something slow, something that didn't exist yet, something born from the way he made me feel. When I looked up, he was standing right beside me, eyes burning with something I couldn't name. "You always play like it hurts," he whispered. "Maybe I can make it hurt less." And then he kissed me, soft at first, then desperate, like he'd been holding back for years. It was the kind of kiss that rewrites everything you thought you knew about yourself. The kind that ruins you for anyone else. For weeks, we lived in that fragile fantasy. Quiet mornings in his penthouse, my piano echoing through marble halls. His laughter rare, but real. His hand on the back of my neck when the nightmares came. For the first time in years, I wasn't running. But peace never lasts long in a world like his. One night, I found him in his study, staring at a folder. My heart froze before I even saw the photograph clipped inside. It was me, the real me. The headline read, "Prime suspect in the death of Thomas Klein still missing." Luca looked up slowly. "So," he said, voice cold and unfamiliar, "that's your secret." Couldn't breathe. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick with betrayal and fear. "I didn't kill him," I whispered, my voice breaking. "I swear to God, Luca, I didn't." "Save it." He slammed the folder shut. "You think I'd let a murderer sleep in my bed?" The worst part wasn't his anger. It was the look in his eyes, not hatred, but hurt. I reached for him, but he stepped back like my touch burned. That night, I packed my things and disappeared. Again. 3 years of running, and I still hadn't learned. Love doesn't erase your past, it only exposes it. But fate has a cruel sense of humor. Because when you try to outrun love, it finds you in the most unexpected way. 2 months later, the news broke: the real killer had confessed. My name was cleared, but by then it didn't matter. Luca was gone from my life, and I had no idea if he'd ever forgive me. Still, I went back to the club. The piano was there, untouched, waiting. I sat down, played the song he loved, the one I'd written for him without ever meaning to. And then I heard a voice behind me. "Play it again," he said. My fingers froze. I turned, and there he was, standing in the doorway, eyes softer than I remembered. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "And I'm sorry." He looked different that night, not the untouchable mafia boss I'd met months ago, but a man stripped of armor, eyes weary, haunted, and still somehow full of love. The rain outside painted streaks of silver down the club's windows, and for a moment, everything felt exactly like the night we first met. The piano, the silence, the tension trembling in the air. I wanted to speak, but he beat me to it. "I read the report," he said, his voice low. "The man who died, Thomas Klein, he was your brother's dealer, wasn't he?" I nodded, the words lodged somewhere between guilt and grief. "He was. My brother overdosed that night. I tried to stop Klein, but my throat closed. It was an accident." Panicked. "And then I ran." Luca's expression softened, the coldness in his gaze melting away. He came closer, slow and deliberate, like he was approaching a wounded animal. "You've been running ever since," he said. "Yes," I whispered. "Until you." Silence settled between us, heavy, fragile. The kind of silence that can either break two people apart or bind them forever. Luca's hand reached out, hesitated midair, then landed gently on the piano lid. "Do you have any idea what it was like?" he asked. "Watching you walk out. Every night after, I'd sit in that damn corner, waiting for you to come back." My breath trembled. "I thought you hated me." "I did," he admitted softly, "because I couldn't stop loving you." The confession shattered something inside me. Before I knew it, I was crying the kind of cry that shakes your bones. And Luca, he did the one thing I didn't expect. He pulled me in. I fell against his chest, his scent whiskey, smoke, and something purely him flooding every sense I had left. His arms wrapped around me, firm and certain, like he'd never let go again. "You don't have to run anymore," he murmured against my hair. "Not from me. Not from yourself." The piano between us became our confession booth. I sat back down, fingers trembling, and played. The melody started soft, the song I'd written for him, but this time, it carried something new. Forgiveness. He sat beside me, his hand brushing mine as I played. That single touch said everything words couldn't. The past was over, the pain forgiven, the love still alive. When the final note faded, he whispered, "Stay," and I did. The weeks that followed were almost unreal. Luca kept his promise, no secrets, no walls. He took me back to his penthouse, but this time it wasn't gilded isolation. It was home. He started bringing me coffee in the mornings, pretending he didn't like it when I played for him while he worked. But the truth was written all over his face, that quiet, unguarded smile that only appeared when the music started. He once said, "The piano makes you honest." And maybe he was right, because one evening, as the city glowed gold beneath the skyline, I looked at him and finally said the words I'd been too afraid to before. "I love you." He froze just for a second, then smiled, that small, dangerous, devastating smile. "Took you long enough," he murmured, pulling me in for a kiss. This one wasn't desperate or forbidden. It was slow, steady, full of promise. The kind that whispered, "You're safe now." I didn't know what the future looked like, not for a pianist with a criminal past and a mafia boss trying to clean his own. But for once, that didn't scare me, because love wasn't about perfection. It was about finding light in the places no one else dared to look. A month later, the club reopened under a new name, The Ghost Note. Luca said it was fitting for the man who once vanished like smoke and came back to haunt his heart. The first night we played again, the place was packed. People came for the music, but stayed for the story. They didn't know they were hearing two broken men who found each other in the ruins. As I played the final song, Luca stood at the back, hands in his pockets, eyes on me like I was the only thing in the room that mattered. When the crowd erupted into applause, I looked at him and smiled. He didn't clap this time. He just mouthed two words across the room. "My song." And in that moment, I realized something. Every scar, every mistake, every note of pain had led me here to him. Maybe fate isn't about destiny. Maybe it's just about finding the person who makes the noise inside you finally sound like music. Later that night, after the lights dimmed and the last guests left, I sat at the piano again. The club was quiet, the city humming outside. Luca came up behind me, resting a hand on my shoulder. "Play something happy," he said. So I did. The melody danced through the empty room, soft, playful, full of hope. He leaned down, kissed the side of my neck, and whispered, "You know, I used to think love was a weakness. And now?" I asked. He smiled against my skin. "Now I know it's the only thing that ever made me strong." I turned to him, meeting his gaze. "Then let's never stop being weak." He laughed, really laughed, the sound echoing in the empty club, brighter than the music itself. And as the rain began to fall again outside, we danced to the sound of my piano, two ghosts who had finally found their way home. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.